Hi everyone, and welcome to Cooking with Cricket. Today I'm going to be making cream spinach with pasta. And you don't have to add the pasta. But I'm starting off with a 10-ounce package of frozen spinach that I've defrosted a little bit, enough to get the juices flowing in the microwave. And I've got it sitting in a strainer and just getting off as much juice as I can out of it. Then I'll be back in just a second to show you how I chop up my onion and all. Here's the pasta that I'm using. I'm going to be using the bow tie pasta, but you can use any kind, but to me, the bigger the pasta, the better. Alright, I'm not going to need much onion, maybe around 1/3 to 1/4 of a cup. But I really want it finely minced. So I'm just going to take a half of an onion. Start by cutting it down this way, real close together. And then go across this way. Now, as I'm chopping this up some more, I'm going to take my minced garlic. And I know it's already minced, but I want it to be a little bit more smaller. So just going to take about a 1/2 teaspoon, add it right on top of that. Start chopping it up a little bit more. I want the onion real fine. Okay, when you get your onion chopped real fine, then you just set it aside. Alright, I'm going to wash my hands and I'll be back. Alright, I have a medium-sized saucepan. Put my water in it. Gonna add some salt to the water. Got it turned up to high. Salt my water real good for my pasta. I have my cup of pasta setting by. You only want to cook this till it's al dente. That means it's still got a little bit of a bite to it. It's not all the way soft, but it's soft but firm, if that makes sense. So when my water boils, I'll pour that in there, stir it up, cut the heat down just to medium-high so that it won't boil over. And then when it gets ready, I can drain it and set it aside, because then we'll be adding it to our spinach. Alright, real quick, I want to go over my seasonings that I'll be adding. Besides my about 1/4 cup, 1/3 of a cup of finely minced onion, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic, I am adding 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, around 1/8 of a teaspoon of paprika, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground red pepper. That's the cayenne pepper, ground red pepper. And then you don't have to do this, but it's better with cream sauces. I had the real nutmeg, the nut that you ground. Can't find it. I don't know if maybe one evening when my husband was cooking, if it might have fell out. Something got done with it. But anyway, that is better to use. So I've got some organic nutmeg too that I was using making Christmas, my gingerbread houses that I was just building. Anyway, I'm only going to use just maybe 1/8 of a teaspoon. So if you don't have 1/8 of a teaspoon measure, this is a 1/4 teaspoon. Just use half of that and you'll have 1/8. But you just want a good little pinch in there. And two, if you just 1/8 of a teaspoon can be just a good pinch. So, and I'm going to start off with some of my oil and get it preheating, and I'll be back. Alright, I got my pasta boiling and it's almost ready. And in my skillet, I'm going to turn my heat on medium-high. And I'm going to add olive oil, but you can use whatever oil you like. I'm going to add about 1.5 tablespoons. Let that get heated up for a minute. Okay, now I'm going to add in my onions and garlic. And I'm going to cook this a few minutes until the onions become translucent. Once this gets to sizzling good, I'm going to turn my heat down to medium. We don't want it to brown. And my pasta's done, and I just have it draining and set aside. And if you want to use fresh spinach instead of frozen, you can, and I have used it that way too. I just wash it and dry it real good. You don't even have to chop it up, but I do. And I add about 2 cups. Alright, now I'm going to add my drained frozen spinach. Get that heated up just for a minute. And today I'm using half and half. And I'm going to be adding 2 cups. I may need more, according on how thick it gets. And I'm going to add my salt and pepper and the nutmeg and the paprika and the ground red pepper. Going to stir this and bring it back to a boil or to a simmer. And then we're going to cook it for about 5 minutes or until it reduces and thickens a little bit. And I will turn my heat back up to about a medium-high. And the Parmesan cheese I'm using is the shreds, but you can also use the grated. I've used this before too, but today I'm going to be using this. Alright, my creamed spinach is coming back up to the boil, and I'm going to let it simmer for a few minutes until it reduces a little bit and it thickens. So I will be back. And I turn my heat back down to about a medium, a little bit over medium, and you want to stay with it because this is cream and it can boil over. So just keep it stirred. You don't have to stir it constantly, but we do want to let this cook a few minutes to reduce a little bit. And if it gets to boiling too much, just turn the heat down a little bit. But this is really going to thicken up when we add the cheese to it and the pasta. So I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Alright, mine's been cooking around 4 to 5 minutes with me stirring it up. Because like I say, it is cream, it can boil over. And you can see it's reduced down a little bit and thickened up. And every time I cook this, it's always a little different. Sometimes I need to add more cream. Sometimes I need to add more cheese. It just depends. But right now I'm debating on if I need to add just a little bit more because it's going to thicken up when I put the cheese in. While it's still cooking at this point. I think it's going to be alright. So I'm only going to add about 1/3 of a cup If you're using the grated, well, about 1/4 of a cup. If you're using the grated, you only want to add maybe 1/3 of a cup. Stir that up real good. We can add a little bit more. Alright, I'm going to add in my pasta. And let it cook for about another minute or two. Add a little bit more of this. And as this stands, it will thicken up a lot. And if you want to add some more pasta than this, and cook some more. I think 2 cups is too much, but if you wanted to maybe add 1.5 cups, but it depends on the size of your pasta too. And I am calling this done. I'm going to put it in a serving dish and top it with some more of the Parmesan cheese. So I'll be right back. And here is my creamed spinach with pasta. And as it stands, I'm going to let this stand for a couple of minutes. It will thicken up more. If you don't want it that creamy, you can let it cook a little bit longer. But my family will eat all of this up. But I will let it stand for just a couple of minutes and it will thicken up. I've topped it with some more of the Parmesan cheese. And like I say, each time I cook it, it's different. I either use more or less. But I hope that you like it. So I hope you enjoy.
Everybody eats.
That was my husband. He likes to say that every time I make a video. So everybody eats. I hope you enjoy.